as we had last left it off, the party fought with the slithering stillness and came out on top. On researching her area, her her lair, did you came across her story, one of tragedy, where she was in fact cursed by the followers of Zarius many eons ago. She was experimented on by those who opposed Zarius, and from her blood and her curse, they were able to create the Gorgons. They utilized her as a secret and a Kiptgriver, until eventually the followers of Zarius were able to invade Greyhelm and destroy it at the foundations. She was given a key to Kairgoren, the city, before being left alone in an untold age. This drove her mad, prone to attack people on sight. Only after figuring this out afterwards, you made with that information as each of your characters did. Some of you regretted it, others just didn't care. However, you were able to obtain the various treasures she had collected over the years, as well as the treasure to Kairgoren. You went back out into the streets to find that the vast majority of the population of a sizable population of the abandoned in the city had been dealt with, making your travels across the streets a little bit safer. You were able to cross the bridge, apply the key to the gate, and undo a millennium-old lock, which opened the way inside. Inside, you swiftly found a creature that went by the name of Linus. This creature was something you've never seen before, 7 feet tall, black and skinned all over, with pointy ears, and 4 fingers on his hand. He escorted you inwards to a massive city teeming with life, of other creatures of similar size and stature to Linus, but diverse in its lookings. And here he introduced you to the city of Kairgoren. And that was where we had left it off. So, you stand on the bridge overlooking the city, where the various peoples are going about their daily lives, completely unaware that their entire world is about to change, simply by your arrival. Lila stands there, watching all of you and your reactions. How would you like to proceed?
This city is huge. How many people live here?
I think our population limit is at 50,000.
And is this everyone? Is there any other cities? Is there a network, or is just everything for the
As
area?
far as we know, we are last under mountain.
So there used to be others.
They fell. At least that is what I remember during school.
So a long time ago then.
Yes. If you wish to learn, increase, go to the halls of lineage. You will find them over there in those buildings.
Was there a ping?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, happy days. Thank you.
It does point to a series of bluish dome structures in the far end banks of this city. They sort of like overlook the area. It's also where one of the sources of the magma flows sort of dips through the city and inwards. So I can see the magma flows from the city in various different directions. It flows towards the middle of the city, where it pulls down into the vast cavern below. You count at least 3 lava waterfalls here, just from crossing the bridge.
Does this lava level ever change? Water often goes up and down. It feels like a flood here would be much more damaging than a standard flood.
We have many safeties in practice. We are able to divert at sources, shut off one flow, send to next. In our time here, we have controlled flow, and in event of national emergency, natural emergency, we are prepared with the. It is. What is word when you cover area?
Would you evacuate? Would you protect?
No, no. Shield. Shield.
Shield.
Yes. Shield come from there. And he points towards the center of the bridge, which you haven't reached yet, where you can see 2 brass-like domes. They're interconnected in various lots. He sort of makes a twisting motion with his hands and says they expand, become shield.
This sounds very impressive, very advanced. I'm not sure I've seen magic used in this way.
It is blend. I recall magic and technology become one.
This is a very interesting way. I'd love to learn more about it in a basic level. It just sounds so fascinating.
I am simply foraging. Others know more.
I will seek them out.
You will want to speak with council. They know all. They are Azalian, Nasheline, and Furk.
We have been travelling for a while. Is there somewhere we could freshen up and clean ourselves up and make ourselves more presentable?
Yes, yes. You did not want Lily's dwelling. I take you to resting guidance. It is a place where those who wish to meditate in solitude go. Relaxation springs available.
That sounds very refreshing.
Do you have any I know this is probably a big ask, but do you have any like trees or anything down here?
Tree.
Yeah, big so they're like big plants with a big kind of like wooden stem in the middle, and then these like green.
Yes, yes. Fuel. Fuel, yes. They power furnace and fire.
Yeah, they can do. Do you have any that are like still living in the ground?
We have small tree in the deep garden where we grow our food. And he points to the very back end of the cavern. or the city that you can see.
Would it be possible for us to, well, or me or us to go there at some point?
I I do not know why you would not can go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So he continues to go across the bridge until eventually you come to the center of it all, where those two brass domes are. As you can see here, there are a couple of workers of similar size and stature to him. That they have a uniform look about them. They have like a little bit of, like sort of cured leather armor with some cufflinks attached to it, and a bit of a strange, almost alien design about them.
Are
And
they
they
like, doing any tasks at the moment, or are they just standing
no,
still?
they have stopped, dropped their spears, and staring at you with completely agape mouths.
They're
They
the
do
worst
not
guards
know
ever.
what they do not know what the fuck you guys are.
Okay.
Until you get a bit closer and they point towards Lisma, Zirik, and Joprix. And they're like, oh, God. En bendeyesu. Ladies, donde están ustedes? Speak, God speak. They are from beyond. Oh, oh, ah, from God.
I don't believe we are from God, but it appears that our speeches have been entwined at some point. This is a standard, almost universal language between people outside of here.
In the Godlands.
Is everything outside of here the Godlands?
Your apostle came years ago, told us the way.
What was this apostle's name?
Miles Cadeno.
Oh, not a name I recognise.
It's broken. It's a broken way of saying Miles Carden.
Ah,
Just for reference, for Baruch and Joy Lee, as players, you won't notice, neither will you as characters, but just for reference, Miles Carden, the party is content, and I'm sure they'll probably tell you about this in due course, but Miles Carden was the brother of Roger Carden, who discovered the New World, and Roger went back to the Old World, but Miles stayed, and he seems to have gone on an adventure of his own. But I'll leave that up to the parties to sort of fill you in on the gaps on that one.
we also have some handy journals by him, by Miles Carden, that we did while doing the Star Mine.
No, you died, Lisma. You fell in the lava.
He pushed me. I bet it's Vorkus.
No, there was a banana.
No,
in
it
the
was just a
middle.
zombie controlled by Vorkus, completely different.
Right.
To be fair, it is a debate where it's hotter in game or out in real life.
Right. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'm just going to say goodnight to Leon, and I will be back.
Roger.
Right. He wants to catch me up briefly then.
Vorkus has kind of been taking the lead on asking questions. We've bumped into a couple of other people who are dressed in like a worker's uniform who have stopped to gasp in sheer amazement. And we've learned that they were taught Godspeak by Miles Carden.
Cool.
Also, they seem to pay particular attention to the human men, I think.
Interesting. I guess they would look like Miles.
Yeah?
So that's what they're saying. Maybe. I don't know. I assume Miles is human.
Yeah, I think he was. There were some points that have been brought up on the map. So there's the resting gardens is where the saunas, spa, nice areas to stay are. The deep gardens is where there's tree or a tree potentially, and the Hall of Lineage is all of their histories. So they're the 3 points that's been pointed out.
Assume the tree must be a Hallan tree.
Well, it sounds like it's a bit more used for fuel.
Yeah. I asked if there were any trees, and they were like, "What's a tree?" And then I described it badly, and they said fuel, and that was where it was grown. So
Right. Interesting.
So, those guards stand there, sort of mouths agape, and then they go on to say, "Why come? What mean come?"
We are exploring. We didn't really know you were here. But now that we have found you, we would love to learn more about you.
I send word to council. They would wish to speak. Yes.
Okay, could we go and freshen up and see them in maybe 1 hour?
Question? What is meaning?
We need to go sleep.
Sleep. Oh, yes. Escort. Resting guidance. Best place. Sleep.
And then we would love to meet your elders.
It broke. What did you say?
Do you sleep?
Sorry, I did not catch that. Could you repeat that, please?
Do you sleep?
Oh, yes, we sleep in accordance to bodily need. We are aware.
That's the best way to do it.
We know of sun. Yes, sun, light giver from outside world. Civil people used to sleep with sunrise and sundown. We have no sun here. We sleep when tired.
I kind of just nudge over to Cora and be like, "Oh, we're civil."
Well, you're saying civil, I'm saying that sounds very freeing. Sleep when you need to, work when you don't, job done.
So the as you progress onwards over the bridge and the guards sort of stand aside, very much on occasion, the guards they step forward and they just reach out and just touch you on the shoulders, on the head, on your tail, Vorkris. They're not groping, they just like briefly pat. In a sense that they're just almost like children discovering something they've never discovered before or never seen before, and they're just puzzling it through what it sounds like, what it feels like.
You are welcome to ask me any questions you want about myself and others here. But yes, after sleep. Well said, Agnes.
They begin marching behind you in silence, keeping a healthy distance, but They are completely mesmerized by you guys. As you begin making your way all the way across the bridge to the other side, until eventually you come across a cavalcade of buildings. Now these structures they are very old, but they have seen modern repairs and improvements to them over time. Like you can see the base structure of them is some ancient stone, additional floors, extensions of the rooms, repairs to the windows and the doors. They are relatively modern.
Looking at the style of the original stone and the style of how things look, could I estimate an age span? How long do I think the oldest ones were maybe built?
I want you to make a general intelligence check because you're just sort of like examining them at as a brief passing moment. Okay, with that one, Vorkris, it's rough guesswork at this point, but from what you've learned in this place, you suspect the older stones that you're looking at probably within the region of millennia.
Ooh, very old.
The various people here, they stop. You can see children that are as in it like, and we're talking like very young children here that are still holding onto their mother's hands. They're the same height as Joy Lee, and they just stop and stare at you. You know, some people that are carrying bags and are like they drop their bags, and you can see produce just sort of roll out of these bags. People bump into each other, start pointing and staring, and hushed whispers. You can see windows now start to open up as people have already heard the rumors, and they just like stare down at you. People rush out from alleyways from around the streets to create a kind of like a column of stairs as you walk past them, escorted by these guards who are you could, for the lack of a better term, they're keeping things civil, but they themselves are completely mesmerized by these strangers that they didn't even know existed.
I'd just like to step to the side, kind of get in the middle of everyone, and just say, friends, I understand we are an unusual sight to you all. I understand that you must have many questions. Questions we will be more than happy to answer, but I just want to make sure that you're not misunderstanding our visit here. We are nothing special. I get we're unusual, but please, you can ask us any questions you want. We are happy to just discuss anything, but there's no need to be in awe of us. We're just travellers.
Whilst he's making that speech, Joya Lee is waving at all of the children and like pulling funny faces, playing peekaboo, just generally like anything like you would do to entertain a small child as you're walking.
Right. Their mothers step between you and their children so you don't get too close. But even they're like...
I'm not trying to go up to them. I'm walking with the pack,
right.
just like waving and pulling funny faces, but staying with the group.
Make a general charisma check for me.
Oh dear. Give me a second. Oh, why am I on these spells? Charisma. Oh gosh.
So you do this, and doesn't have. It's probably because you just don't simply have a frame of reference for this culture, this civilization, and what they consider to be humorous and what they consider to be appropriate. But they just don't have the general intended reaction that you were hoping for. Most of the kids just sort of meet it with confusion. Others, they just sort of hide away behind their mother's skirts. One particular child just runs away screaming.
Did you just insult them?
I think after the running away screaming, she's probably just gonna kind of like stop and just look a bit despondent.
You can hear some of them say in Godspeak in like loud whispers, because do you think that one is unwell? She makes strange face. Must be disease from outside. Should we stay back? Maybe. Yeah. So onwards you guys go. Eventually you come to a large set of stairs that connects this layered cavern, and you head up onto the second floor, where still there is a massive column of people, civilians, just in awe of you. In
How many
terms of
stairs are we talking? What's the height difference between these levels?
probably about 100 feet or so. Like you have to go up you have to go up when you go up this flight of stairs, you go up 100 feet basically.
Okay.
So yeah, they're quite big and they're very wide, like they're very wide, and they are used for large travel effectively. Yeah, in regards to the speech that you made, Orcus, their main reaction really is, he speaks, God speak. Ah, God speak bad. No, God speak, learn, go. There's a lot of struggle between some of the people that maybe they just don't understand your language as well as some of the others. Some of them are sort of mixed in the sense that they know some words, and then some like Lilas are actually able to hold a full conversation, and he's kind of sticking with you a little bit. He's kind of like, I don't want to say claimed you, but like he found you. He this could be this could be an interesting change of life for him, basically.
If he speaks Godspeak well and can have a conversation with us, it makes sense to have him around for now.
Yeah,
And he can
so,
be a little
yeah.
translator for us, so that
It would
works
be
well in our favour too.
Yeah. About 25 minutes after leaving the bridge, you have veered off down the main street towards the left, and eventually you come to a large square building with it's kind of looks a little bit like a Rubik's cube, but the center cubes are missing except for one. The one cube on the inside, so like the outer squares are missing. It's just that one little square in the middle that connects the two like Rubik's cube layers. And you can see that each square of this Rubik's cube occasionally shifts, whilst the rest of the structure does not.
How is that happening?
They look at each other, and Lilas just looks to you and says, "Magi technology."
I'm just kind of look in awe as we walk past.
They lead you inside, and the center of the structure is kind of like a neon blue-esque light, and you're instantly reminded of the power source that you found when going down the corridors just outside of the water source that led you to the portal. Well, it seems that this is a similar kind of power source, but these ones have hints of red in it, almost like they're magma. And in that moment, Joprix and Vorkris would be able to connect the dots that the power lines that you saw previously didn't have any juice in them. These ones are fully powered. These ones, the only thing that was literally missing was a volcanic reaction of magma. Basically, it seems that the heat was a power source for them that they channeled through these veins, and now they're in full swing.
What's the range of these power things? Are they going to like every building? Is everywhere here going to be powered fully, or is it just like
It's more of a case of this is the first building you've seen them in with them in. They're only visible on the interior.
Okay.
You are able to, as you go inside, the proprietor there who is wearing what appears to be a double stuffed bat hat. Like two bats that have been stuffed and stitched together, landed on his head and acts as a hat. And they speak with them in their own language, and he is just. He's reacting in a sense that, strangers from a different race have turned up and now would like a room here to rest. And he's like, wait, what? What? Sort of thing. You can see a small little exchange of money between the guards of the similar coins that you have picked up in your travels, given to him. And he's like, yeah. He does turn towards you and he says to you, stay healthy and happy.
Thank you. This looks very relaxing, and I'm sure I will.
Looks at Linus. Stay healthy and happy.
Is there a response to this? I kind of side whisper to him.
Linus says something in his language, to which the proprietor says something back, and then Linus says to you, it is only what you know how to say in Godspeak.
Ah, okay. Thank you. And I'll nod and touch my chest and try and non-verbally express gratitude.
They don't understand what that means at all. It looks like Linus just sort of thinks this, your heart okay? You
Yes,
feel
thank
pain. You feel
No,
pain.
no, I'm not that old. It's okay.
We have ointment for pain.
I'd be very fascinated to examine your ointment, but I do not require any at the moment. Thank you.
What is this?
It is my way of saying thank you for the kind words of support. He said.
Say thank you in your language. I think that might be helpful. If we could know that, maybe.
Grasa.
Grass.
Grasa.
Okay. I'm just.
And you show fun. You show big fun. And you can see his four fingers basically. Like basically kind of like that effectively. And he says, you show big fun and you connect it like that. And you point. Grasa. And that's when as you try to do that, Joy Lee, that's his he immediately instantly just kind of grabs your hand and looks at it. He starts, you can see he's mentally counting your fingers. He just looks at you with, are you well?
This is normal for my people. 5 fingers is normal for gnomes.
I? Ben? 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 They are curious step of 5. Yeah. We only ever know 4.
I don't know why we have 5. It's just what we have. Better for gripping, holding things, maybe? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Do they have biologists here?
What is...
I mean, they have people like me that are fascinated by the body because they control it after things die.
More as Jess to Jack, would biologist be a term that I could use, or?
Yeah, they just don't understand what it means. That's as complex. It's more of a case of that would have been a word that not even Miles would have known. So he's taught them words that he knows and sentences, but the more complex words that a rogue pirate like him wouldn't have known, it's not words that they are familiar with.
No, okay. I didn't want to make sure I was saying something that wouldn't fit.
No, that's all good. Lilis says that rooms will be given to you. and that you may stay inside. That a guard will be posted outside of the building and your doors until such time you decide you wish to leave. There are a lot of rumors going about the city already. There's likely going to be a lot of commotion, but until their direct superiors come tell them that somebody needs to go inside your room, they won't let anyone in.
Thank you.
So you are escorted all to two separate rooms. One, they escort the men into one room and escort the women into another room, and they are square-like. They are square-like, kind of isolation solitude rooms. The walls are padded with like a kind of like a brownish cushion sort of thing. There are, I want to say, furniture in like half oval shaped chairs that you would like have to sort of cross leg sit down on. There are refreshments in there, like small little strange spiral vases with liquids inside of them. And what you would could classify as a bed, in that it's kind of dips downwards, so your legs and your arms sort of rest on legs and arm rests, whilst your body sinks into like a small little hole, effectively. And it looks comfortable like a bed, effectively. But each room has got 6 beds in them, so. But they just naturally split you up as based on what they see of your sex. Yeah.
And I'd like to try and stick with Baruch if possible. Is that are they gonna like react badly to that, or?
So, as they point you into one room and Baruch into another room, you sort of direct over to Baruch, and they just like, you are with, we do not know custom.
We travel together. We're friends, and so we sleep in the same room.
Baruch can come and sleep in our room.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I haven't slept not by his side in a couple of months now. It makes me feel a bit weird.
They speak with each other in their own language before Lilas nods at the guards and says, you may rest in either room as you see fit.
Thank you. I'm gonna try and say thank you. Gracias. Yeah.
Grasa.
Grasa.
Grasa. Okay. So, you guys are able to retire into these rooms in whatever order you would wish.
Can I see any sort of thing that I might use as a writing table?
Here's the thing. What do you, when you go in there, what does Baruch think? Like, do you think, is there anything around here like a flat surface I can think on? Like, how does he think it?
So what he thinks is, what I think is, these people are clearly very interested in us. I want to, write something that will answer some of the questions they may be having. I will have, some time whilst others sleep. I want to find somewhere where I could comfortably write for a couple of hours.
Alright. So as these initial thoughts come into your head, you can see the center of the room, kind of like a ripple effect, and like a stone water ripple effect. Boom, 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 boom. Starts from the center and it ripples all the way around to the sides, up the walls, over the ceiling, and they kind of like, these tiles reposition themselves. And then in the center of the room where it initially started, manifests to your mind, a regular stone desk with a blank book and a quill and ink. Sort of kind of writing basin that you would find at home from your own reference of mind.
Right. I am very interested in. But yeah, I'll have a look at that. See if I can figure out anything about how that happened.
Make an investigation check, and this will be over the course of your rest in this room. All right. So it's not a case of you don't find the answers. It's a case of you can't figure out the answers because as you try to figure out how it works, what you can only assume is the manifestation of blueprints to this room come into existence, and you examine over them, and you just have no frame of reference. You don't understand the designs. You don't understand the structure, the power source, the magical arcane symbols. Like you get a couple of symbols here that you can read them. It's just a matter of understanding them. You just don't get it. It's like you're basically reading, if you apply cucumber to ice, you will get nuclear fission. Sort of thing. Like, how the fuck does that work? Sort of thing. Like, you just don't get it.
No. Okay, yeah. I'll just accept that I don't know that for now, and sit down, and start writing. I suppose.
Okay. Before too long, the rest of you would realise that these rooms work similar to that room of requirement in Harry Potter, in that you think it and it manifests itself, but in the sense that it kind of alters the physical reality of this particular room to create exactly what you want.
The first thing that I created like that, I would immediately try and take outside the room.
What exactly do you create?
I'm probably looking at the hole in the ground and thinking, oh, a pillow sure would be nice. That doesn't look very comfortable at all. That's why I imagine a pillow would appear in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And I'd look at it and I'd do the normal things. I'd be touching it. I'd be poking it.
Yeah, it feels exactly like your frame of reference.
Okay. And then I'd just try and leave the room with it, holding it.
Okay. So as you leave the room, you are still holding that pillow.
But and I would go back in the room and I would think of the biggest pile of gold I could possibly think of.
Do you go back in with the pillow?
I do, yes.
Okay. So as you go back in with the pillow itself restructures itself into a small box of gold.
So you can only have one thing, either a pillow or a box of gold, my analytical mind works out.
I mean, you do look at the gold. It is fake.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Well, it's more of a case of they are coins of gold with no engravings in them at all. Like,
okay,
there's only apparently you basically figure out there's only so in depth that something that can be made, and there also may be safeguards to prevent instant creation of such things that might destroy the local economy.
Well, that just seems very sensible. I didn't think anyone else would be evil enough to try it. So why would they bother defending against it? At this point, I'd probably be casting Detect Magic to try and understand how this spell even works. Not to necessarily get the spell, but just to understand what the hell is going on.
All right, so the entire room, you get a sense of kind of like transmutation magic. It feels different from the transmutation magic probably from a different domain source that you are aware of. It's a foreign magic as far as you can tell. And that's what you get from detect magic.
It's just crazy. I'd probably stay up for a little bit, making notes in my book, but I am also very tired, so I'd probably be doing that for a little bit, probably about an hour, and then I'd be like drifting off, and I'd roll into whatever the whole things are.
It's actually surprisingly snug. Whether or not it's comfortable is a completely different matter. But you are clearly a little too small for this hole. I mean, they're designed for creatures a lot bigger than you.
Size isn't everything.
Think of a tree. Just like a little tree, like a bonsai kind of thing. Does Vorkris lose his box of gold, or do I just get a separate tree?
You get
You're in a different room.
Vorkris has his thing, but you're not aware of that. But yeah, you eventually think of trees, and a small little potted tree comes to existence. It's basically as big as you.
Fabulous. So sorry, I thought I was in a room with the guys, but is Baruch in
Okay.
the room with the
I
girls?
mean,
It's up to you to decide.
I
Really.
thought I came in with the girls.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
there we go.
So I'm just gonna drag my little potted tree next to where Baruch is writing, and just kind of like sleep curled up around it, basically.
Just out of curiosity, over the course of the rest of the evening, do you cast Speak with Plants or Animals on it?
Oh no, I wasn't going to. I think Doralee's pretty wiped out. She just misses trees, so it was just think of a tree, make a tree, sleep with around the tree.
Well, I know for a fact that Cora would cast that. And all she gets is a blank response, and she will confirm to you that your tree, for lack of a better part, does not have a soul. Therefore, does not respond.
It's an evil tree.
Well, okay. It may not have a soul, but it's doing its best, and it's making me feel better. And until I can go and see some trees with souls tomorrow, it's just gonna have to do. And I think I'm just gonna kind of like pet it, and like anybody listening might hear me say, "It's okay, you don't have a soul. You know, I love you anyway."
Okay. So over the course, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to take a short rest or a long rest?
I am exhausted. I would love a long rest. I would probably want to leave early and go and investigate, but I imagine once I'd fall asleep, I'd be gone.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So over the course of your long rest, you will be all woken up a couple of times by the sounds of scuffles outside of the building itself. Like this place has good sound insulation, but apparently there's a lot of shouting out there. But nothing ever bleeds over into your room. The guards stay fast. Nothing ever tries to enter your room. So whatever's happening out there, you are either shielded from it or protected from it.
Sounds most helpful.
Is there anything you guys would like to roleplay with each other whilst you are isolated in your rooms?
I can imagine Elizabeth is snoring so loud that he would not really.
Vorkris is dreaming up ways to suffocate Lismo in his sleep.
Zurich is absolutely fascinated with this place. He really, nothing's ever really engaged him like this before, and he has just a sense of can't wait to see what else this place has to offer. I can't wait to find out about these people, sort of thing. But that's really all he has.
Are we offered any food when we're in these rooms, or is it more we have to?
If you grow hungry, food manifests itself in the room.
Does it fill you up?
This is where it gets real odd. The food tastes exactly how you remember that food that you thought of tasting. So if you remember your mother's broth, it tastes just like your mother's broth. Likewise, if you think of gruel and how bland and unimaginative it is, you get gruel that tastes bland and unimaginative.
What if I try to think of something that I haven't eaten before? I've seen other people eat it, maybe, but I haven't eaten it myself.
Give me an example.
Tastes like
please.
chicken.
So sorry to butt in here, but I would try and get some of my mother's stew, as it were,
Yeah.
and to try and put into the room. So if Baruch wants to try some of that, he's more than welcome.
Yeah, I'll try some of that.
Okay, so as you taste it, Baruch, it just tastes bland to you. You don't. There's no taste. It's almost just like kind of like hot water with kind of like bits of broccoli in it or something like that. Like you don't even taste the broccoli. You just taste the texture of it all.
Right.
Like it has no frame of reference to your taste buds, and as such, this particular type of magic doesn't work on you. It fills you up. It's sustenance, but it doesn't taste like anything. Or yeah, almost like you're drinking water or eating air.
I'd like to point out that I grew up poor, so it probably did taste like that anyway.
Well, no, I mean when you have it, Agnes. I mean you taste the love in it. You taste the minute amount of salt that you could put in it, the hint of gravel that sometimes made its way in there. You can even taste a little bit of the Tabasco sauce that your oldest sister would like to put in there as a prank on the family. You know, it's the memories that come back to you as you taste it help enhances the flavor for you. I know for a fact that GoPrix would definitely do this, so I'm going to have him do a straight up investigation check on this phenomenon. At best that GoPrix can tell, this room is on the border cusp of a pocket dimension that responds to a person's thoughts and feelings. But it would, to truly master something like this, would require a great innate willpower. Yeah. In any case, guys are able to eat, and you're able to rest, and you're able to complete your long rest.
Before we go out, as a precaution, I will copy what I've written onto some parchment that I have myself that I brought in with ink that I also had.
Okay. So,
Just
what would you guys like to do?
If I've woken up feeling refreshed, I'd probably be going outside and just waiting for everyone else to be ready.
So as you go to open the door, the corridor outside looks different, and it takes you like a moment to realize that they're upside down, or maybe you're upside down, or something. And as you sort of come to realization, that's when you feel the actual momentum. You feel the world in front of you twist and turn and go back into its regular viewpoint. But now that you see it, that's the only time you feel the motion of that happening.
I throw up.
The guards out there just see this putrid spew of half acid, half vomit come out, and they just go, we do not know what mean.
I'm so sorry. It was an accident. The world seemed to change. It was very upsetting. I'm not used to it. I will clean it up myself.
Why? What is?
The world, it was upside down. I was
No,
upside down.
Liquid.
It
Green water.
made me sick, but as I am a dragonborn, I have various things in my body and spirits, and so it's a little bit acidic, so it might be dangerous. Please don't touch it. I'll sort it out.
You need medicine?
No. I'm absolutely fine. It just caught me by surprise. I'm sorry, and I'm just like emptying flagons of water, trying to rinse it down.
They just look really weirded out.
As weirded out as I did, coming outside, finding the world's upside down.
Those of you in the other room, the first person to open the door, you'll find it pretty much exactly the same sensation. The world readjusts yourself. I'd say, Vorkris, you'd probably be the first one out, and you walk over to the door, and you see them inside. They are upside down when the door is opened, and then they readjust themselves on the inside to come out.
But why?
We all slept well, though. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was interrupting us when we sleep.
You
or
didn't
anything
even
like that.
notice it happening.
Did I notice anything happening?
No, nobody did.
No.
No, it wasn't a case of your awareness of everything outside this room was completely cut off when you went inside that room.
Right.
The only awareness that you had was the sounds of yelling and shouting coming from outside the building itself. But the actual momentum of when it moved, you didn't feel that. And you are reminded of when you first walked towards this building, the various cube blocks in this building did shift on occasion. So,
Who's
party
going
is
to be first out of the room of us lot?
So if Fortress is looking in, seeing us upside down, are we seeing Fortress upside down?
yeah, you are.
Why are you guys upside down?
Focus, get off the ceiling!
Why
You're
are
on
you
the
upside
ceiling.
down?
No, I'm the right way round. What is going? Rogers like retches a couple of times, but then just composes himself.
Baruch, can you deal with the mess with your magic and wavy prestidigitation?
I'm still pouring
do
bottles
what?
of water out over it. It's not doing anything. Just making it worse.
Oh, yeah. I'll prestidigitate that.
Disappears with a sparkle of stars.
I really should get around to learning that one. It's so handy.
So
What?
cool, and Liz will try to copy it.
Lisbeth
Make
should come back.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay, that's just a D20.
Nothing happens.
I'll just look a little disappointed and pretend like nothing happened.
Can I ask the guards why does the room go upside down?
It change to meet expectation.
Did we expect it to be upside down?
It change to make comfortable.
Is it because we're from the other side of the world? I don't even necessarily say that out loud. It's just my head working. We spent our entire lives.
Individual choice matter in room.
But there was more than one of us whose individual choice takes priority.
All.
A true democracy.
Why were you all thinking about being upside down?
If you wanted to be upside down, then you would fall up. Room change. Part of magic technology. Help contain magic. Adjust.
So, are we all at the rooms now?
Yeah.
Okay, I thank you for letting us rest and make ourselves more presentable. Could we see your council now?
Yes. They await. Transport made. Or ready. You.
I look around for a carriage or something similar.
Not carry. You're still inside the building, so there wouldn't be a carriage in here.
Okay, fair. Sorry.
There have been change in city. People happy. People scared. People upset. Fight. With word. Outside.
The people that are scared and upset, would us talking to them make things worse or better?
Not known. Me.
I
Council,
certainly
no.
did not. Okay, we will speak to the council and we will hear what words of wisdom they have. We certainly do not want to make things difficult for your people.
I don't think
Hey.
talking to them is going to make them any less scared because you're a very big lizard man and you're quite scary and you spew acid.
I kind of looked down at myself and was like, in Vox's head, he's still quite a scrawny guy. It's like he just doesn't feel very scary. It's like it's not how I see myself.
I'm like 5 foot though, so I'm like looking up like you're very big and scary.
No, you're just even smaller than me.
I'm small and cute. It's fine.
Why can't I be small and cute? Why am I scary?
Really is going to look up and up and up at Orcus and be like, no, he's quite small, short, really.
I mean, I really am. Everyone in my village was bigger than me. I was like the smallest dragonborn there was.
How big is everybody else in your village?
I mean, we've got Cora who destroys the curve somewhat. But I'm 5'10", which is quite short for a dragonborn.
I'm like less than half your height, so.
But that just makes you tiny, not me small.
The guards
not
have
me
watched
big.
this. The guards have watched this small inter-party banter, and they are very concerned.
It's nothing to be concerned about. I can see by that look on your face. Everything is okay. We'll go and speak to the council, and we'll straighten this whole thing out, and hopefully we'll stop your town turning into some sort of civil war zone. Because that would be bad. We'd very much dislike that.
Oh boy, yeah. Fight with word. He points towards Joyly and Vorkris. Now, fight with word.
We don't need to fight. We do not disagree. It was just a friendly discussion between friends.
Friendly discussion between friend. Fight with word.
What is this fight with word?
Friendly discussion with friend. Same.
Ah, okay. I see. Yes, okay. But it's not meant with hostility. It's
Yes. No.
okay.
Come. Transport ready.
We'll head outside the building.
They escort you outside the building, and in front of this building, what wasn't there before is the picture of temporary tents, sleeping bags, lots and lots and lots of people, kind of like a wake or a festival of some kind. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of people out there that were just apparently just waiting to catch a glimpse of you. And as you get out, there's immediately movement amongst the crowds as they sort of get out their sleeping bags, come out their tents, and they start climbing over each other and they start jumping just to try and see these strangers from another land. Right in front of you are a number of. They look like giant teacups, but then much more vertical than wide. They're big enough to house 2 creatures, or one of these Kairgorens. They don't seem to be resting on the ground. They appear to be levitating.
I'd probably be like walking up to one, head really low, like waving my hand underneath it.
There's a strange tingle that you feel underneath your hand, and there's a slight fluctuation in how the this teacup bobs up and down. Actually,
Your technology is amazing. It's
magic.
I feel it's both, and either way, it is still amazing.
Mind, like room. Think forward, go forward. Think up, go up.
Walker's immediately dives on the closest one and thinks,
Yep.
like thinks forward, back, up, down, but like little bits just to move.
Whoa. It's very jittery.
This
Do
is
they-
amazing.
Do they know the way to the halls of lineage, or will we need to direct them with
Oh.
simple directional commands?
We go. Trial Dome. Council there.
Trial done.
Shall
Okay.
we
Points
follow
to-
you?
He does point across the way to where the largest structure in this place is.
Right. But I can just, well, think to the carriage, take me to the trial zone, and it will.
Yeah. As you sort of get into it and like close the small little door behind you, there's like a instant connect between you and this vehicle. Like you can feel it underneath you, and as you go towards the trial dome, the thing moves at a general a walking pace, but a little bit faster. Like instead of going 30 feet around, you're going 40 feet around, sort of thing. And it goes slow humming noise as you get a bird's eye view over this place. Yeah, it's quite a strange, I wouldn't even say fun sensation for yourself. And it's levitation. It's flight, but you don't need to concentrate beyond just thinking where you want to go. It seems to have encapsulated the magic spell flight, but in a much more safer and controlled way. As you all hop into it, you can think, it will go. You can think up, you can go up, you can think forward, you can go down. Those of you who are more adventurous can think loop the loop, and it actually does whoa.
I think shrink and enlarge.
It doesn't do that.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand the limits of these things. It's crazy.
Those guards are with you. Linus is not with you, just to be aware. But those guards are with you. And they are slowly floating behind you on their own personal craft as you make your way over the lake of fire below you and the various buildings here.
I definitely followed the road and did not go over the lake in these flying things.
Okay. Eventually, after about another half an hour of flight, you come towards this massive dome-like structure It has a number of those statues on the outside of it that you saw in the corridor that you initially came into when you opened up the doorway to Kairgoren. And there is a lot of history behind these. Like, most of them have kind of like fallen into disrepair, and they've been preserved as best as they can. The buildings down here are much more scarce, and there's a lot less population down there. As you start to descend, you can see probably about 50, maybe 100 of these creatures come out of this trial dome, and they're marching. They form up a formation. They get up into formation, and they create a small little pathway to kind of guide you once you sort of touch the ground, and you're able to dismount from these personal carriers. At the end of this Holland-made causeway, or like pathway, you can see one individual. This creature looks vastly more important in their standing than the rest of them. This one has got pure orange skin, much more pointy ears, long flowing grey hair, and kind of like a Fu Manchu beard sort of thing. Old-headed, flowing blue robes with silver collars and cufflinks. And he stands at the top of a flight of stairs, waiting for you.
I'll lift my hand and say hello.
Doesn't seem to understand that reference. The guards who came with you go say, Go. You are in their care now.
I shall walk up the stairs, keeping my hands like visible in front of me, definitely non-threatening in all ways.
Alright. As you get up to him, this guy's a little bit tall, a little bit smaller than the other ones. Maybe it's just he's old and he's shrunk a little. But this guy's probably about 6 feet tall, maybe 6.5.
Still taller than me.
He looks at you, the first one there, Vorkrus, and he says, Welcome, Kairgoren.
Kairgoren? Ah, this place.
Yes. I am Azalian. I am creator, or the curator of lineage in this city.
So you record the history?
I document it. I also spent much time with your predecessor, Millers. I know your language a bit better than the others.
I'm impressed with everyone's knowledge of the language. Everyone has done a very good job learning it.
I've never seen a creature such as you before. Is your skin hardened with the scales?
It is. My skin is actually harder than the average one of my race. It happened recently and I felt much tougher. But yes, my scales are quite hard. And I'll just tap them with a claw.
Are you reptilian in nature?
I am. I am descended from a long time ago, mixed with the blood of dragons. We are not uncommon where I come from.
And then he turns towards Joy Lee. He says, I've never met someone as small as you before.
No, I'm pretty short for a gnome. Most of them are like about a foot taller than me.
He gets down onto the ground, like down to his knees, and sort of slunches over to basically get his head on equal footing with you. Are you more confident eye to eye?
Actually, I'm so used to being around people who are taller than me. I don't really mind. If I need to be taller, I just climb up on like Baruch, or sometimes Cora lets me sit on her shoulders, and that does me fine. You don't have to get down on. You don't have to make yourself uncomfortable for my sake.
It is fine. I only wish to portray that I come to you in peace, and I would like any relationship that we are about to build to be made on equal terms.
Well, and like she screws up her eyes and says, "Grass sap for your hospitality."
A valiant attempt. He gets back to his feet, strokes his beard a little bit. He turns towards you, Agnes, and says, I have not seen. My apologies. I do not know if this is polite, but I've only seen your race for the view of Millers. I take it you are a female of the god race.
That is true. Myself and Julia and Cora are all females.
But you are the only one of the god race.
That is true.
Yeah, I think we need to have a discussion about the god race. They're just human.
Is that what you call it? Human?
Yes. God is something supernatural and impressive and powerful and to be worshipped. These are humans.
Stop ruining this for me.
No. If I was a god, it'd be different.
I believe Millers said something similar. He said he was from Arta, and he was of that lineage, but he took the visage of a race that Arta was connected to. We assumed that was a god's race.
Maybe there is more to this Milaz than we have currently learned. We do not know him personally. We have only learned a small amount about him.
Would you like to speak to him?
I look confused. He's here?
Yes, in a way.
Well, that's not confusing at all, but I would definitely love to speak to him.
We have the means to communicate with Millers, even if he is not present.
So he is alive? He is well?
Can a messenger from God die?
I don't know, but a human can.
We did not know he was human. He said he was from Atta, an angel.
Yeah, but as I said, we don't know much about him. Maybe he was, and we just didn't know.
Very good. Anyways, I just wish to say that I hope you find our city welcoming, and I will make sure that I will correct my manner of speech towards you, Lady Human.
I prefer Lady God, but Lady Human is absolutely fine. Agnes is my name.
Agnes.
Agnes, yeah.
Agnes. How Agnes. I will.
Yeah.
I will practice this word.
There'll be a lot of practicing, don't worry about it, from us and yourselves.
He turns towards you, Baruch, and says, "Peace be upon you."
Is that a gesture that he's making, or was that you just scratching your?
That was just me scratching my eye. Sorry.
Right, okay. Thank you, and peace be on you. It is an honor to meet you.
It is an honor to meet you. You look very similar to these human, but your ears are similar to mine. He sort of gestures towards his own ears.
Aren't his hairs pointy?
Yes, his ears are quite pointy, yeah.
My ears pointy? My ears aren't supposed to be pointy, are they?
And, well, you're a half-elf, aren't you?
No, I'm Asmar, which basically means I look human.
Oh. I thought you were a half-elf. My apologies.
I thought you were a half elf as well.
No,
See,
I
we're an observant bunch.
am-
If,
and I consider myself to be human as well.
if that's the case, he will amend what he says and say, instead he'll say, you look like a very... You look like a human, but I can see Ata has grace on you.
Yes. Yes. I am still not sure why they have blessed me with their grace and not others. I wish I knew more.
Well, perhaps after we are done, you would like to go to Ata's temple and ask him yourself?
If that would be possible, that would be greatly appreciated. I would also like, if possible, to, because you say you record the history of this place, I would greatly appreciate an opportunity to learn more of that.
Of course. And he actually gestures over into the corner behind one of the pillars leading up to the main entrance to this place. You can see one of the Harlans there, hastily scribbling down what appears to be everything you guys are saying and doing.
You appear to take meticulous notes.
Memory is fleeting. You must hold on to it.
Very true.
Of that, he turns towards you, Lisma, and says, and you look similar to Melez, but much more bigger.
Yeah, I'm human. I've just done a lot of hard, heavy work in my life. Us humans, if we do hard work, we get bigger.
Do all humans have... He gestures towards the top of your head where your hair is. This on top.
Most humans do. Some don't for various reasons.
Most do not here, but some do.
That's interesting.
One of the things we are different, but there is celebration in diversity, is there not?
Yes, I agree. However, not everyone likes diversity. Not from where we're from, anyway.
Oh. That he turns towards Cora, says, I have heard stories of the giants to the east, but never have I... Sorry, the giants to the west, but never have I seen one in person. Which, like, Cora would be like, what do you mean, the giants to the west?
Do you know of more creatures that look like her?
Well, I do not know them, but I know of them. They have a place. At least our records indicate that they did. Far to the west of here. And as you are here, I can only assume the outside world survived the madness.
Which madness do you speak of?
The one that was brought by the god of opposites, whose name we shan't mention here.
I mean, I think there's still a few people suffering from it, but I think in general the world is surviving. But some people do seem obsessed by this this nameless god.
Well, I am glad that I have been able to meet you all individually. Come inside. The council will see you, and we will discuss what we have to discuss.
Are you a member of the council?
I am.
Then it will be our honour to discuss this with all of you. We have nothing to hide and are happy to answer all questions.
We have minor members, but there are free spokespeople. There is I myself. There is Nashalim, and there is Furk.
Well, we will happily meet you all.
On those names.
Sorry, what did you say?
Could we maybe get some spellings on those names?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So, these warriors, these Hullen warriors, or whatever they are, that were forming up for, they created a formation behind you. They now sort of semicircle inward, but keeping a healthy distance, and you are escorted inside this massive dome-like structure. You go through several foyers, up a flight of stairs, and eventually into a central chamber of this place, where there are pillars sort of holding up the center of the structure. You can see various artworks of ancient stone statues, portraits chiseled into the walls, delicates of art, some of them quite cracked, that shoot upwards and upwards and upwards in a spiral-like motion, all the way to the top of this dome, which is a good ways up. It's a flat stone floor, and there is a singular table in the center. Now, probably a floor above you are balconies where there are more of these Hullens wearing what you can only assume to be noble dressings of this place. There are guards placed around the entrances to this central room, but there are two more individuals waiting inside. One of them is a female of Hullen. Greenish, like almost lime green skin, pointy ears, flowing black hair, sort of combed backwards. She's got a few tattoos underneath her eyes that go out over there like that, kind of like almost a half monocle sort of thing. She's quite thin, and she wears like leather armor instead of like ceremonial robes. The other individual is a male Harlan, probably the tallest person here, standing around 8.5 feet tall. He has got very long hair that is tied backwards in a ponytail. He has a beard, like well kept, almost greying in nature. He also has lime green skin. He's got various robes of opulent design, flowing down his back and over the front, like almost like a half poncho slash cape sort of thing, with his noble clothes underneath and various rings on his fingers and a pendant around his neck that has a symbol that you feel like you have seen before.
Do Joely and I feel like we've seen it before? Sorry, I didn't get the response.
Sorry, could you make a history check for me, please?
History check. Yeah. Oh, it's on my spouse. Sorry.
Yeah, you have seen this symbol on the outside walls and some of the ruined banners in Kairgoren. Putting two and two together, knowing that the nobles who, from what you learned of this from the Slithering Stillnesses there, you know that it was a house called Platita that owned, or at least ran, the city of Kairgoren. You assume that that is a symbol of Platita, and the symbol he wears around his neck is also of the same design.
Yes.
So there are chairs of a funky design, like a bit big for you guys, definitely big for you, Joyly, but you're all given an individual chair to sit down as Azalien, Furk, and Nishalin take their own seats. Nishalin leans forward and says, "On behalf of the city of Kairgoren, we welcome you." Zalian leans forward and says, "On behalf of the council, we welcome you." And Furk leans forward and says, "And as descendant of House Platita, I welcome you."
Thank you very much for all of your welcomes.
We appreciate your hospitality.
Thank you. Now, I suppose the most gaping question is, who are you and where have you come from?
The full explanation could take some time, but suffice to say that we are from another land that we were not happy in, so we went out seeking a new land. This outside of here is the land that was found. It was thought to be uninhabited. There didn't seem to be any people anywhere, and it was bountiful and beautiful, and nature was alive everywhere. So we travelled to here to try and make a new start for ourselves. And that is happening. There are a few small settlements, but we have been exploring more, and that is how we found you. But we do not know. We know very little about you, and would love to learn more.
We
I
are happy to tell.
whilst we have been in the city, I have written an essay with an overview of the land we come from and the land over here, as far what I have seen of it, that I would be happy to present to you to read at your own pleasure and distribute among your people, if you so please. It is only a short work because I haven't been here long, but
Azalien does lean forward and he says, my apologies. What have you written this in our language or in yours? For we do not know your written words. We only know your verbal.
I have written this in my language, but I am happy to dictate to a writer who might be able to translate. Or
We would desire that work of fiction that you have created, or historical accounts. We would seek to use it as a reference of written translation for our scholars to start.
of course, I am happy also to work on a dictionary if you would like. I should be able to read your language, though I cannot speak it. So if you write down words in your language, I can write the same words in our language.
If you are willing to spend several months here, then we will be more than happy to create a full accounting of our written words in our languages and create suitable comparisons from which to start translating with our scholars.
Focus kind of comes up months.
It would take
Months is
that amount of, it would take a long time for us to learn our unknown written language. It took us many months to learn the word, to speak it as well as we do now.
I do understand that for the whole language it would take this time, but it should be possible in a shorter time to give you a short key with which you could start and decide the rest yourself.
The challenge leads towards this. That would be a good start, but I think we would be interested in having a point of reference as someone who could teach our people, and in turn who we can teach our written language to. Perhaps an ambassador.
We can see if we come next in contact with a settlement, we can see if that would be possible. I don't think any of us would be able
Yes.
to stay for that time.
Of course, we wouldn't demand that. But if peace is to be between our peoples, we would encourage trade, and trade necessitates a code of laws and language.
We represent any one particular people or group. We're just a band of travelers and adventurers. We don't, or at least I don't, represent anyone other than myself.
Falk leans forward and says, My apologies, maybe we have misread the situation. These appear to be just harmless explorers and not actual representatives of a civilization at large.
we can be both.
For which we would be grateful. We very much desire to learn what has happened on the outside world since our entombment in this place. Now, we have melded the individual who you came into contact with yesterday and have learned the point of contact between our people and yourself. So we are aware that you were the ones that opened the gates.
Yes, there was a shield around this place, and us being the curious bunch that we are, we sought out the key so we could see what was behind the shield. We did not know you were here, but here you are, protected and hidden away for so many years.
Before
Have-
we digress, I wish to just clarify. So you have come from another land that you were not happy with. You have come to this land and have begun building up a smaller civilization, to which you began exploring, and that is how you have encountered us here.
That's a pretty concise summary of our travels, yes.
And we probably built. I personally haven't built any settlements. There are settlements of our kind of people here, but like not ones that we personally or I personally founded. These guys may have founded a settlement, but I haven't.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. So, as part of our custom here, when one side has gained something, it is customary to equal it out. We have gained information that we find valuable, so in the spirit of equality, if you would like to ask us a question, we will provide information of equal worth.
Can we discuss this within our group? What we would like to ask first,
I mean, you can discuss it now.
right? Because it seems strange to me that we opened these gates, and yet a human came in here before we did. I would like to know how that happened.
Walker's like kind of looks up and goes, "That's a damn good question."
Okay, I direct my question at the council now. So we,
Look.
oh, yeah,
Sorry, you go ahead and what you're saying. Say what you're going to say.
we noticed as you did that we opened the gates. Yet we hear stories of someone like us being here before, and we wonder how did that happen? How did he come in?
Miller's Caldendu came several years ago. He descended from the heavens with a ray of light and an angelic chorus. We knew straight away that he was from Atta, and we prostrated ourselves before him accordingly.
And you witnessed his arrival in this manner?
Many of our people did, yes.
Oh. Interesting.
Roll a check to see, like I think like an insight check or something to see if they like actually believe this religious interpretation of events, or if it's like some kind of myth or something.
All right, ahead, make an insight check, please.
I mean, it sounds to me like he fell down a hole and perhaps survived by use of featherfall or something similar. He may have found them just as accidentally as we did.
I mean, you don't sense any skepticism or doubts in what they're saying, so you get the feeling, Joy Lee, that they believe that.
Right, okay. Then I'm just gonna huddle with the group. Guys, could we I don't want to like waste a question or anything, but I'm really curious as to whether or not they can get their shield back up again. Because if we just kind of like put their shield down and they can't put it back up and there are still horrible nasty things that are trying to kill these people, I'll feel a little bit guilty.
That is a fair question. I will happily pose this if you wish.
Yeah, I go for it. I think you're better at talking than I am.
I don't feel like I am. But Council, the shield, the protection that we dropped to come and visit you is. Do you have any knowledge of how this works? Are you able to put it back up?
Unfortunately not. The lock was on the outside, prevented us from ever leaving. I assumed you closed it behind you.
I mean, we're not quite sure how to do that.
Well, it
This
matters
is
not. Now that the gate is open, we can trade with the outside world again.
certainly, but I am concerned that there are people in the outside world who may try and take advantage of you, who are not very considerate and nice, and I would hate to see you exploited.
Well, we are not fools. We can understand when we are being taken advantage of. We can understand when we are in danger. I would have assumed that if such individuals would like to do that, They wouldn't be selected as delegations or ambassadors by your peoples.
Even now in this new world where there is a relatively small amount of people, there are still many factions working. We are not united. There is not sort of one delegation that would represent us all. There are different people out there, and there are people who you call the God's race, who may try and use the fact you see them as a God's race to curry favour with yourselves.
Are you not a god's race?
I do not personally consider myself a God's race, other than the fact that I guess, we're all some kind of God's race if you go back far enough. Like they take credit for creating us and all that jazz. I'm personally a man of science. I like study and an explanation.
So,
There's a slight pause of hesitation between the three of them until Ferk says, "We were informed by Miles Cardenu that he was of the god's race, and his race directly served Arta. Listen to his voice."
he, I, he may have been. I never met him, but people who, look like him, like Agnes and Lismer and their Prince, they're not necessarily also the gods' race.
But he assured us that all of them were.
I
And he told us that your race would return and free us from our prison and allow us to rejoin the outside world. He told us it was a command from Arta that your people would come.
So
I-
This is why you do the talking.
I myself have, from a young age, received communications from an angel in my dreams and discussed with this angel until I lost my ability to sleep and dream. And for me, it was a shock to learn that this did not happen to every human. But it does not, and I do not know. I mean, that's myself, so I do not know if he was under the same impression, and if he did receive these communications. But I have learned that not all humans have any ability or favor to speak with even an angel directly.
All three of them go silent. They lean back on their chair. And they start discussing amongst themselves in their own language. And they speak for the best part of 5 minutes. Eventually, they turn back towards you three, or you guys. If Miles Carduna is a liar, then he has shown us that your race is not to be trusted.
Maybe you should judge us on our merits and not by our race.
We spent months with this prophet learning your language in preparation for our freedom to rejoin the outside world and be blessed by the God's race. In exchange for this, we allowed him to visit the shrine of Arta, where the stone artifact inside resides. He was very insistent on this from the day he arrived, and only after he proved his trustworthiness did we let him inside. And now you inform us that we were mistaken to put our trust in him. We let him in our most sacred site where even we dare not go. to allow him to participate in the ritual he said he needed to do.
So, can I just ask you one quick question? If you're not allowed to go there, you haven't been in there since he was there?
No. Which means
Do you have any way
could
of
very
knowing the
well-
stone is still there?
no. He. Azalea sort of leans towards us. He could not be. It's not shining. Goes. It would appear so. He was a thief.
I mean, not necessarily.
We don't know.
He
but
could have been
yeah.
a prophet. Like, we don't know him. People do receive words from gods and so on and so on. He could have genuinely been a messenger from Atta. But I would
This
hate to see you
meeting
taken advantage of.
is concluded.
Is one of
If
you able
you-
to go and check the stone?
If you wish to continue with these talks, then we charge you with escort to overcome whatever traps this Melez may have led for us. If we ever doubted him, we require you to get past these god defenses he may have set up, or in this case, these lying defenses.
It would be our pleasure.
Of course.
We mean you no harm. We mean
If
you
the
no
stone
distrust.
is not there, then there will be no friendship between our people, and you will be banished from our city, and we will never, ever interact again.
If the stone is there, we will do. If the stone is not there, we will do whatever we can within our power to track it down and retrieve it.
May I
And bring
ask
it back.
what?
Volkris, make a persuasion roll, please.
I would like to say before I make the persuasion roll, I made no mention of bringing it back here. We are going to track it down and retrieve it. I made no mention of bringing it back here. 15.
As you are not a member of the God's race, I am inclined to believe you. I see
You
diversity in this group.
You mentioned you melded with our guide when we entered the city. Would you be able to do the same with us?
No, I do
Yeah.
not believe we attempted to meld with Miles Carduna when he arrived. However, his physiology and ours are incompatible.
I understand.
May I ask a question about the shield?
Yes.
Who put the shield on you?
Azalea and Nishadan look at Thurk, who sort of readjust themselves as, the shield was my family's legacy. House Platyter created this defense many, many generations ago. Unfortunately, the means to undo this shield was lost to us, to the shame of my family.
You say the means to undo the shield was lost. Were the means to put the shield also lost?
I do not know. We have not tried to look in that information
I just
as...
yeah.
Yes.
I just think, if you do decide that you don't want to interact with the outside world, it would be useful for your scholars or your magicians or your magic users to be able to put the shield back up if you want it. So
We will have to investigate this. Likewise, we must implore with the priests of Arta to allow you in. So, here is the deal we will make with you. You are allowed to stay within our city. You are allowed to participate in our commerce. You are allowed to partake of its comforts and its luxuries. You will not allowed to leave the city until the priests deem it necessary for you to enter. You will enter with an escort. You will find whatever traps that we are not capable of recognizing and undo them. You will confirm that the stone is still there, and then you will let us know if it is not. If it is not, you will be escorted from the city, and our gates will be sealed once we figure out how to seal them again. If the stone is still there, then we will accept that Miles is an isolated incident. And we will re-begin talks of friendship amongst our people.
I would encourage you to treat Miles or Miles as an isolated incident regardless. He does not speak for everyone. He was one person.
He insisted he did, and we believed him. He was charismatic, to say the least.
I've met those charismatic folks. They are a terrible bunch.
You'll help with us
Hey.
at least.
Well,
On the way here, I believe someone mentioned you have a way of communicating still with him.
we do. We have never attempted to. Because we did not have the means to do so. Because only those of the God's race can activate the device he left behind.
Could we see this device?
Yes. God! Wait, he doesn't say that in your language. He says in his language, God, bring it here. One of the guards rushes off, and a few minutes later, he returns with a small little lockbox. He gives it to Thurk, who slides it across the table towards you guys.
Can I investigate this? Because this is just a box, you said.
It's just a little lockbox right now. It's closed.
Right. Let's see if it's locked.
No, it's not locked. You can open it.
Right. Okay. So I'll open it and just have a look at what's inside.
So inside is a small little, on top of a small little velvet cushion is a spoon.
Do I detect anything magical from this spoon?
No.
So it's
Is it
just
is it a soup spoon or a dessert spoon or a little spoon?
It's like a soup spoon, like a little broth spoon sort of thing. The kind of spoon that you would have in a common explorer's pack.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
I will pick up the spoon.
Show us how it works. Our scholars tell us it is not magical in nature, but they assured us it is because it was a foreign magic, not detectable by us.
I breathe on the spoon, getting a little bit hot, and I balance it on my nose.
You see the local councillors on the top there go, I don't know what there's a... Azania goes, fascinating. I would have never guessed.
And I say, Miles, Miles, Miles. And I'll turn to the council and I'll say, it does not appear to be working. I'm receiving no response from this clearly magical device.
Maybe if one of the gods race, the human does it. You, young lady.
I pass it to Agnes.
He passes it towards Agnes. He starts gesturing towards Agnes, like they're they're quite desperate for you to communicate with Miles.
I have heard of this weird ritual in some taverns sometimes, so I will again blow on it and balancing it on my nose and
We currently
Just
know
call-
better than Miles.
And I'll just call out and I'll just say, Miles. No, there's no answer. I don't
Why
have
is he not responding?
I'll just whisper to Agnes. It's not magical, right?
Is it not? I always thought these were magical.
I want food. It's in a bowl. I use this, and it's not in a bowl anymore. It's in my mouth. That feels magical to me.
What are you talking about?
I am. We based on our results, we believe this may in fact not be a working communication device.
You can see Furk cross his eyebrows, and for the first time you've seen him look genuinely angry. He just leans back into his chair and says, I must exclude myself from this meeting. My vision is clouded. He steps up. The others who were sitting down step up as well as he promptly leaves the area. When he leaves, Azalian and Nashlin sit down, and Azalian says, our way is that if one is not of sound mind in meetings such as this, one must not participate until the mind is cleared.
Seems like a very sensible way of doing things.
I can understand why it would affect his mind right now to learn the lies that apparently this man has given you.
Furk is taking this responsibly. He was the one who convinced us to believe Millers. Millers and Furk were friends, you see.
Some people have a talent of convincing people to do what they need, and especially when you have been trapped and away from outside influence for so long, it's not going to make it easy for you to spot people that are here to deceive you. I appreciate that makes it probably a little bit hard for you to trust us, but we will do nothing to earn your distrust, and we will do whatever you ask us to help earn it. Beyond that, all we can do is hope.
Nashalin speaks on and says, there is another aspect it would be equal of us to reveal to you. The Furk has gone over our heads a little in giving you permission or authorization to go to Atha's temple, whereas for Millers, or Miles as you say, took months. The Furk wishes to reduce the amount of shame this is bringing on his family. He is hoping to correct his mistake by making a much more hastier one.
If the stone is not there, would that be a lot more damage on Furk and his family?
It would most likely eliminate whatever honor they have been able to scrape for themselves ever since it was their family that directly led to us being imprisoned in the first place. The Platiter family, whilst having their own compound, is not entirely popular within this city. And you may be approached in your walks in our streets by a group that is known as the Green Hand. These are rebels.
Are they gardeners?
They are rebels. They wish to see House Platiter ended. But the majority of us know that we are all children of Platiter. And it is their survival that means all of our survival. For many of the ancient magics here only respond to Platiter blood. If their house was to be eliminated, then many of our technology and our magics would become unusable to us, including the various contraptions you will have to go through to get into Atta's temple.
Will there be a member of Platiter blood with us?
Most likely Furk himself. If not, he may delegate it to one of his cousins.
Well, I know not what we'll find in there, but I can promise you that we will report truthfully, and we will help you with whatever has happened to your people. We do not condone the actions that Miles may or may not have taken at this point.
We will send the mass meld to our people to let you know that you are guests of the city and you are to be treated accordingly and fairly. We work on an equal-based society. If you do something to someone, they are within their equal rights to do something of equal value to yourself. If you are sociable with our people, they will also be sociable back. But
So
beware,
Carry
whilst you are here, you must obey our laws and our principles. We do not allow theft in this city. We do not allow lying in this city. We do not allow violence within our city. The crimes are usually met with an equal punishment. If you steal, something will be taken from you. If you hurt someone, hurt will be done unto you. And if you bring death onto someone, death will be brought unto you.
And if we bring freedom to your people to trade with the outside world and meet the rest of this world as it stands, what will be brought on us then?
Freedom to leave this city.
Yeah, okay.
May I ask a question? Something has just occurred to me that might be of interest, maybe, to you.
Please, speak, small one.
When in the place that we slept, which was really comfortable and very nice, by the way, thank you. You had it kind of changed to match what we were thinking.
Yes.
Would do you have any other places like that? Because I'm just, thinking that maybe if we have a little bit of downtime, because we've traveled so much and we've seen so much of the outside world, we might be able to think of some things from the outside world that we could show you guys, like some flowers and stuff. That
We have flowers in the deep gardens.
I mean, no, yes, of course, I'm sure you have your own flowers. I was just thinking there may be like flowers from our old continent or from the surface that are different from your flowers because they've been separated for so long that might be of interest. Or I don't know. I really like flowers, but there may be other things that you find more interesting that we might be able to show you with that magic.
Some of the flowers also have very useful properties. We can use them for treatments and medication, so perhaps that would be helpful.
It was just a thought, just an idea.
Visit the deep gardens if that is your desire. We have the similar technology in there to replicate our livestock and our food, our flora, our fauna, and such.
What
We have a
about
couple of original copies that we are able to reference from. Hence, we tend to those in order to create more.
Oh, okay, excellent. I'll go over there and have a look and see if there's any plants that you may not have that I reckon I've learnt about on my travels that I can give you that have medical properties or taste good.
Very good. Please don't pick anything that you have not been given permission to pick.
No, of course not. It's I hope you don't take offense at me saying so, and I mean no offense, but it's I miss nature being down here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your gardens, and I wouldn't dream of disturbing it in any way. I'd quite like to see it as it is and be able to appreciate it.
What do you mean you miss nature? That guy's a right arsehole. He laid traps for us, and there was
You're thinking of when nature was the female druid.
Sorry, her. Sorry. Like she laid traps for us, and I barely managed to get her diary telling what she'd been explored. What do you mean you love nature?
I wasn't here with you guys when you did that, and also I was referring to like trees and plants and grasses and birds
Not
and
the
insects
arsehole
and
nature.
bugs.
I apologise.
No worries.
We'll give you a brief rundown of our city, but please keep yourself to the confines of the city itself. Just southwest of this dome, you'll find the Platterton Manor. You will not be allowed to enter there unless you are invited by a member of the Plattiter household. If you are seeking specific components to understand our magic technology better, may I suggest Ilalin's Endurance? It is a commerce shop with a great many of our magical abilities laid down in items for you. The halls of lineage, where Azalea resides, is where we keep the vast majority of our historical records. It's also where we keep our family lineages in tip-top shape. We have a population cap that we must not go over. A point of reference for yourself, because I don't know if it's the same on the outside, but one must apply to have children here. We cannot suffer from overpopulation. We have done this before, and it nearly brought about the end of our civilization.
We certainly weren't planning on having children here, but what happens to people who have children without permission?
They are
Surely
melded.
mistakes happen. Sorry, they are what?
They are melded.
Melded with.
They are melded.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this word. I mean, melded would mean they would be joined with something. What would they be joined with?
There's a bit of confusion over her face as she sort of looks at Azalea with, and it's like, to meld is to ascend, to shed one's physical body and become part of the system that is our city.
Ah, so they're melded with the lava?
No. That would be painful.
And that's what I thought you were alluding to. I apologise, and you're clearly much more civilized than I thought. Glad to hear it.
Do you not have melding where you come from?
I do not. It is not familiar to me.
Well, when an individual is melded, their physical body no longer exists. And as such, because we have melded the individual known as Lilas, their dwelling has become available if you wish to live there.
How exactly do you meld this? How do you make their physical body not exist?
If you wish to examine the whole process, we'd be more than willing to teach you. Whereas we are physically, biologically incapable of melding with you. Azalea, do we have any more meldings scheduled for today? I believe there are 3 meldings scheduled in several hours' time. If you would like, you can participate in one of them and see how it works.
Could I maybe observe one without participating?
Yes, of course.
That would be lovely. I would love to learn more about your culture. Thank you very much.
Yes, well, it's standard routine. We have 2 elderly and a sick that we are melding today.
I don't think I'm going to like this melding, but I will put on a happy face.
When somebody's melded, do they come back in a new body? Are they born again?
They become different. They don't come back to a physical body, no. They are part of the city.
Some people where I come from believe in a thing called reincarnation, which is when you die, you get reborn in a different form. I was just wondering if it was maybe like that.
No, we don't practice this reincarnation here. It wouldn't power our city.
And so Lilas is just like gone? Now?
Yeah. Yes, he is melded.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe we should go and explore. Like, where would you like us to meet you in a few hours to witness this melding?
Oh, Azalea says, please come to the Eterniums. And he sort of gives you directions as it's pretty much in this area of the city.
Roger.
And if you wish to have a dwelling, a house of your own, Lilith's dwelling was down here. You are informed of Firth's Fires, which is a place where equipment and armor is forged and the like.
We would very much look forward to exploring your city.
Of course, Arta's Temple, which is up here, and they will begin the process of getting the priests to allow you in.
Looking forward to it.
So, effectively, because you guys, unless you want to start something else, you guys now have got a week of downtime.
So is that how long it's going to take for us to get access to the Asa's
Yes.
Temple?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Ooh, lots of things to do.
Let's take a quick bathroom break there first, guys, because I believe some of us have probably been holding in for a little while. Okie dokie. Alright, so I will cycle around everyone, so just give me a brief rough idea of what you intend to do with your week in downtime. But there's general knowledge that you will all innately learn in your time here. So, one, there is a very strict code of ethics here. The best thing you can do is associate the code of ethics with a code of laws. If somebody behaves unethical, then they risk themselves, basically. Those of you who participate in the melding, it seems to be just an accepted thing. It's not like a public execution. It's more of a case of a societally agreed upon state of population control. Not in the sense that they're being straight up murdered, but in the sense of they are losing what essence they are to become something more, to ensure the future generations of Highlands within this place are able to live on.
But what's the actual process of that? How does that happen?
So what they do is they strap them up to effectively a chair. They get wires of those bluish-like veins that you saw in the walls. They hook them into them. Then they basically utilize a magical ritual that effectively disintegrates their body. It is then absorbed into these tubes, these wires, which is then placed inside a small little compartment of bluish-like energy, a container, is what, like a kind of like the size of a propane tank, sort of thing. This tank is then placed inside one of various large tubes, which then is processed with a sense of a magical formula with a hint of magma, and then it enters into the tubes, which then powers part of the city.
So they said there was 3 scheduled for that day. I'd have probably gone to all 3.
Yeah.
Did any of them resist in any way, or was it just an accepted thing that they went themselves?
It generally was an accepted thing, and it does appear that they, from the ones you saw and the ones you hear about over the course of the week, it's members of the population that can't contribute much anymore. The sick, then when I say the sick, I mean the terminally sick. Like the sick person that you saw, they didn't have much longer left to live. They only had probably like a day or two. They looked incredible, like last stages of leukemia sort of thing. The the two elderly, they required help to move across the room to sit in the chair. And before even participated, there was no sense of loss or mourning amongst them. They actually just had a pleasant little chat in their own little language, and that lasted for about 5 or 10 minutes before the whole process was done. Best you can sort of, it would have been a little. I mean, your escort would have probably translated a little bit to you, but he's basically just saying that he's enjoyed the time that he's had. He hopes that he can power the home of his family for future generations, and it's just an accepted thing, really. It's their, for lack of a better part, it's their belief system, it's their faith. They are accepting of this because it's just culturally accepted, and it's the same sense that somebody who is deeply religious might not fear death because they believe they're going into the garden of heaven, but in this case they believe that they are becoming part of the city to power it for future generations.
And do I, from an arcane practitioner, recognise an actual powering of these cables through their sacrifice?
If you were to utilize detect magic, you would definitely get a necromantic feel behind it all.
Would I be able to find out, or by simply asking, why Lilas was selected for melding after me?
I would want you to make a persuasion roll.
If we're going to sleep at his house, I'd kind of want to know too. I guess we're not going to.
You do inquire, but it's considered rude.
Okay.
So that you do not find out that information.
Really would like to kind of use part of her downtime to discreetly kind of investigate more how melding works with regards to unexpected children, like what, because like what, because from the talk it seemed like unexpected children were melded, and it seems strange to her that they're so, but based on seeing what happened when Baruch asked outright about Lyrillus, it's just kind of more casually, subtly doing it.
Please make a persuasion roll.
Right. I was just trying to see if any of my oh, that's not
Okay.
great.
So, Joy Elite, the best you're able to determine is that unexpected pregnancies are very, very much rare. Like, they only happen once in a blue moon. And it's usually between teenagers. Adults know full well what happens if they have an unexpected pregnancy. Best thing you can tell is that pretty much everyone is on a register here. Everyone is documented. The entire familial process is documented for very, very strict population control. Best thing I can say is basically 1984 Big Brother sort of thing.
Just through learning that, does our presence here mean more people have to be sacrificed?
No.
Okay.
Actually, the hope is now that your presence is here, they could actually kind of get away with those restrictions
because they can now leave and go outside. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's a matter of perspective. From the outside perspective, it certainly looks like they're genociding their own people in the name of strict population control. For their point of view, they've been stuck in here.
It's
for
survival.
It is survival.
Do that or perish. So yeah, I can see that.
There's only so many limited resources, and those of you who study a little bit of their history know that there have been wars in this city before that became about because of overpopulation. There's only so many resources that can be distributed and created by their technology a day. And when people are starving, they fight for it. And these practices were brought about to prevent that from happening again. Otherwise, they just destroy themselves, and the madness would have won anyway. So there's very much a different culture here, and they accept it. Whether or not your characters accept it is entirely up to you.
I think I understand it. Accept it is maybe a little bit too far, but I can see the need for it. I understand why they've done it, and if us coming here and dropping the barrier can help fix it, then that could only be a good thing, in my mind.
I can see your mouth moving, Joy Lee, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I think Joey's probably a little bit freaked out with the whole idea of getting rid of people once they're no longer useful, considering her backstory. And so she's probably going to spend most of her time in the deep gardens, just looking at what plants and herbs they've already got, and trying to recreate any that she can remember the details of from the surface that they might want, particularly ones that may help with population control.
Right. So the deep gardens are an interesting thing. They're effectively manufactured greenhouses. They have rows and rows and rows of fauna and plants that are grown in very specialized plots and such. There are some that are made for oxygen. There are there are rows that are made purely for the refreshing of oxygen. There are rows that are made for food and the like. There are some that are made for medicine, and then there are others that are just used for what appears to be recreational use. But each one of them has a there's only limited room in there, and they utilize every space of it that they can, and it's a very well-oiled machine. There are a few real plants in there. There are, as best as you can tell, 10 trees that are real in there, and they look very, very, very old. Like they have been preserved well beyond their natural lifespan.
Is there so like basically I kind of want to spend the week's worth of downtime like getting to know the gardeners, getting to know the system they have, seeing what I can do to like maybe suggest plants that might better suit their needs based on my understanding of plants from the surface of my time, that kind of thing. And also kind of spend time with as much nature.
Make a nature check for me, please. Yeah, so there are a few plants and produce that you can think of. Carrots being one of them. Carrots are fantastic. They have no carrots here whatsoever. Very easy to grow in the right circumstances, can be mass produced. You, utilizing their technology and their magics, you're able to create a dummy carrot that you give to them. And over the course of the next few days, these gardeners, who they do know what they're talking about, and they are quite friendly actually, and they are very fascinated by your knowledge in the whole thing, that they do grill you on this. And it's a weird sensation for you, Joy Lee, because no one has ever grilled you on your knowledge as a druid before, because you spent your entire life believing you're a failure of a druid.
Yeah.
So to be the druid that's sent out to a location to give them guidance on how nature works, like your teachers and your fellow students did, it's a very strange feeling that is somewhat completing for you.
I think there's also a certain element, like, she realizes that the only way this was ever going to happen is with a group of people who have been trapped underground for millennia, and so she's just going to bask in it for as much as possible.
Okay. But yeah, I would say that due to your intervention, you actually improve the kind of produce that they make. it's hard for them to recreate proper carrots because they just don't have the legitimate seeds for it. Because in the same sense that you can talk to plants and animals and such like that utilizing your magics, the things that you create, they are soulless. They are imitations, shadows. For all intents and purposes, they are real. They just aren't the real thing, which is why they have no souls from which your nature magic can be utilized on. If anything, if your druid commune was to find this place, they would it's they would view it as a graveyard where all the bodies are taxidermied, sort of thing. It's not a natural thing. It's a survival thing.
Yeah.
So
Could I maybe press my luck a little bit and suggest could I show them how to grow something like chives? Because in my experience, chives grow super quick in basically any conditions. Would that be something possible? Just like because obviously carrots are nice and they're a good food, but something for like flavor.
well, chives are a fine addition. They can't grow it themselves because they just don't have the natural
Right.
ingredients to grow it themselves. Everything has to be done, recreated through their mental magi technology.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Are you proficient? Are you proficient in the nature skill, by the way?
I'm not. No.
If you want, it takes somebody 250 days to become proficient in the skill. If you want, you can knock 7 days off to 250 days to become proficient in nature skill.
Is there anywhere I can? Okay. Cool. Just trying to work out if there's anywhere I can like put that on my character sheet.
Yes, there is actually. I can. Where's your character sheet?
So in the middle on the right hand side, you can like there's
Create a box, can't you?
I can't think what the hell it's called. So I've got like
It's underneath your bonds, floors, and things like that.
I've got yes it is, sorry, yeah. And so I've got arcane recovery and breath in there, but it's just like a resource tracker box, so you can put that as how many days you've got until
Well, as you look at your thing, I've actually put that in one of your boxes, which is nature skill. You know that you need to get 250, and you're currently on 7 out of 250.
Okay.
Hey.
Cool. Thank you.
Good.
Just to go back to the melding, if I were whilst witnessing it to cast sort of detect thoughts,
Yeah.
when like as they were being melded, at what point would I stop detecting any thoughts coming from them?
The moment they are disintegrated.
Right. Okay. So they are just. It's not their. It's not a thinking soul that gets extracted from them.
Not a thinking soul. It's their essence. It's the essence of who they are.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, from your perspective, Baruch, they are killed.
Yeah.
Choose to believe that they exist on like some capacity.
They live on in the same way that my summoned zombies live on.
Also, Vorkris, if you would want to, the Eternians do have very old graveyards that you could pluck a couple of bodies out of if you want to.
I would not be doing that while here. I don't feel particularly threatened, so I don't feel the need for the extra protection. And I don't really want to steal it, like, especially if. How old are the graveyards? Because they obviously use their.
They are pre-sealing, so they're very old and will most likely require a little bit of backup for you to go into, just in case you come into an angry spirit of some sort.
So no one's been buried here for a long, long time, and it's this whole disintegration thing that's been going on for.
The disintegration process is actually relatively modern in the fact that it's been happening in the last 500 years or so.
Okay.
Before that, it was a much more barbaric process. And before the
Toss it in the lava.
Oh, they melded people after killing them. Before that, all dead was just tossed in the lava. Yeah.
Okay. But yes, I will not be resurrecting people here from their graveyards.
So, Lisma, what would you like to do in your 7 days of downtime?
I'd be looking into any sort of smithing they have. See if
Okay.
I can try and improve my armor and my weapons.
All right. So you'll take a trip down to Firth's Fires. Would anybody be going with him as he goes towards this place?
I would, out of interest, but obviously standard weapons and armor aren't really my thing. But I would. I pretty much want to explore everywhere because I'm fascinated by this whole new civilization that we found.
Okay. So, Lisma and Vorkris, you head over into. You find your way to this shop-like area that's somewhat underground. You go down a few flights of stairs until eventually you come to. From your perspective, the best thing you can sort of compare it to is a pawn shop where there's a bunch of items on your end, and then there is a guy behind a grate or a gate at a banister on the other end where there's even more items that seem to be of quite value. This individual, he's got whitish hair that's sort of shaved at the sides and puffed up at the top. He's got a bit of a snarling look about him, like a shrewd businessman kind of look. He's got orange skin, pointy ears, a bit beefy, bit muscular, and he looks at you and just goes, you're, you're them, outsiders. What are you doing here then?
I'm interested in your smithing techniques, your weapons and armor and such.
Oh, well, we got limited resources around here, but I can certainly show you a few things or two. You looking to buy today?
Yeah, potentially. I do want to improve the armor I have got.
You got money?
I believe we've got money for because we've got money, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of money knocking about, and I'll take out one of the ancient gold coins that I've got, and I'll just slide it over as a proof that we do have some money.
Well, consider me paying interest in him. I knew there was purpose in learning your fucking language.
You seem to speak it quite well, better than some of the others.
Well, let's just say I pay attention to what I believe will make me a lot of money. One could say I've been waiting for this day for a long, long time.
Why so? What have you got that would make you wait so long?
Sorry, what'd you say?
What have you got that would make you wait so long? I'm curious now.
What have I got? Oh, well, I got weapons that they're new, and then there are some that are very, very old, preceding, shall we say. I have a collection of armors and arms that suit themselves to the needs of the individuals that have a bit of extra bang in their buck. And I have some items that, to be fair, the council don't know I actually have, but you want to make some money, don't you? You want to get some items, I want to make some money. Let's just keep it between us, shall we?
If they don't ask, they don't need to know.
Wonderful.
Vorkris does not say a word.
Glad that the outside world has got some business sense. I've been looking to make some real fucking money soon. So, let me show you what I can do. So he does take you into the back, where there is there is a forge there. It's of a different design, but it functions very similar to a sword. However, there are several of those bluish-like veins that do power it. You can see over the course of like an hour or so, you see him smelt and cast just a simple longsword. And it's a similar practice or process. It's just that there is magic used in the design of it. Instead of it going into a casting iron, the metal is in fact listed and held in midair where it twists. Almost as if being held like kind of like a telekinetic kind of force. He does strike it with kind of like a pickaxe-like hammer in several places, whereas most people would use a blunt hammer to shape it. He's utilizing this pickaxe to kind of direct where it will settle. Really, it's a different process. You wouldn't call it efficient by any means, but it does it does obtain the same process, and over the course of a few hours, he does create a fresh new longsword. When it's finished, the melting cools down, and that's when he picks up the handle, he takes it out, and whatever magic was holding it there does fail, and it no longer floats. He swings it a little bit and says, "Yeah, this one's got good balance about it. Give it a try." He passes all to you, Lismo. You grab it by the handle. It's light, it's sharp, it's a good sword.
Would I be able to take like anything other than that about it? Is there anything?
No, he
special?
literally just showed you the smithing process of what they
Right.
do.
Okay. Cool.
So that's just a regular longsword that he created.
So I would give him a quick overview of how we would do it in our world, and see what he thinks of that.
Well, you have to create a makeshift cast iron, something for the metal to actually come into. So like you have to like find something that will hold the molten metal. Then you actually have to sort of carve a long sword shape into that metal to create the shape that you actually want to make. And he watches it and it's like, why don't you just make it float?
He's not very good with magic.
Oh. But yeah, you repeat the same process over the course of a few hours, and you create your own little longsword utilizing his equipment. And it's like, that's some fun work. Yeah, different process, extra steps, I suppose. But I mean, using a blunt iron, I suppose. I suppose if it's laying down on a flat surface, you can just hammer it into the position, but. Voting, you need that creativity. You need to direct how it's going to be made. But yeah, harking and hammering is fine.
Yeah, I get not everyone where I come from is able to make stuff float. So this is how we have to do it.
Oh, well, there we go. So, thank you very much for the educational lesson. What are you hoping to buy today?
Well, I would love to be able to improve the armor I have, as it has some sentimental value, and my weapon, sword and shield. However, if not, I will hang them up because I need something stronger than what I've got.
I can certainly improve on them with the techniques I know. How good of an improvement are you looking for?
Well, I guess it depends.
Basically, what pluses do you want with your arms and armor?
Ideally a 2, but if a 1 will suffice. If
Right,
that's
so a +1 improvement on your current weapon will cost you 250 AGP.
cool.
For your armor, it will cost you 500 AGP to get a +1 in it.
Okay.
I mean, just to be clear, I haven't got that much on me, but I think we've got more in the bag of holding. But I also feel that the bag of holding is controlled by Kristen. Therefore, I have no idea what we've actually got in there.
I think we've got like 4,000 or something.
We picked up some at the end of last 4,800 ancient GP at the end of last session.
So yeah, we're definitely not short of a few bob, and I'd recommend letting our fighter take it for useful arms and armor.
I'll try not to use all of it, but I just feel like I need to be a bit tougher after our latest experiences.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was the wrong button.
Especially since me and Zurich are the only guys that are up front.
Zurich, over the course of this week, does come to you and he says, he really, really likes it here, and he feels like he could do a lot of good here. Should you guys are able to get up to check stone. So after that mission is over, if this place still needs an ambassador, and if they're still willing to talk, he'd like to be that ambassador.
That's I understand that decision. So you do what you need to do.
And this is all assuming that the chain Halon Stone is still there.
Which is definitely not going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think some fire resistance would also be really helpful if that.
He can. So you can get a +1 fire resistance of your current armor. That will put it up to about 1,000 gold pieces. I'll be honest. All right, ancient gold pieces.
Cool. And what about shield?
Just a regular shield.
No, plus one to my current shield.
Oh, and to add a +1 to that, that'll be another 100 gold, 8 AGP on that shield.
Cool. What about a +2 to the shield?
+2, that'll put you into the regions of about 400 AGP.
Cool. So I'll discuss this before. I think the logical thing to do is get a +2 on my shield, a +1 in fire resistance on my armor, and a +1 on my sword, because I think that'll cover me on most bases. However, we'll discuss it with everyone else because it's going to cost quite a bit.
That's 1,650 ancient gold pieces for the full of it, if I understand correctly.
I think that maths is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It will mean fireball's going to do half damage to me, so you can just blast it through.
Yeah. Think so, because what it says here is 240 platinum, 4,800 gold, 16,000 silver, and 4,200
the platinum
copper.
pieces. I mean, we got loads.
Yeah.
We got loads.
Basically, that would be all the silver that we got plus 50 of the gold pieces. So I feel like that would be
+10s, please, Jack.
Yeah. +10s? Oh, fucking millions then.
Well, maybe we can go a bit higher then. We need to work out how much we've got in gold terms. Would you be able to once you map it out in a list of what the tiers would be?
It really depends on the item you see.
So
What's your current armor? You've got splint, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving you prices based on splint. So
Is it for ancient currency? Is it the same 10 copper to a silver, 10 silver to a gold, 10
Yeah.
gold to a platinum?
Yeah.
Or is it 100 gold to a platinum?
10 gold.
10 gold, cool.
Fun.
yeah, that's
More of a comparison. Economists had a go at what each coin will be worth in our world. I think they said 1 gold piece is worth about £100.
What is 1 gold piece is a month's salary?
Yeah.
Do you, Jess, do you remember how much you got in that chest? Because I don't think that's included in the.
No, it was written in the chat there, and I think Cora took control of it, but I can scroll up and have a look.
It's probably.
Oh, that might be in the party loot already. Let's have a look what the party loot says.
I think the party loot is old. I think it was from before Kristen joined. I don't know how old this is.
Right. It does say something about ancient copper and silver and gold pieces, but that seems quite a lot from just that chest. So that might be some. Right.
Well, they'd
Gonna
collected some from before as well.
So, by my calculations, based on just the stuff we got from the Medusa, we currently have 8,842 ancient gold pieces.
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
Plus whatever you got out from that chest. So.
how many of us are there?
Excluding Zurich, there's 6 of you.
Zurich's leaving potentially, so
Yeah. And Breezy is sticking with Cora pretty much the entire time, so.
I thought there was 7. Am I?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there is 7 of you, yeah.
7. Okay.
Is that including Zurich? No, it's not. Cool.
That's excluding Zerg, yeah. And Breezy. That's just basically 7 players, not 7 characters.
So my negotiation would be like, I think so. Maybe I'll take a larger share this time because this will then keep me out for a long time, and then next time I will duck out on a share.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm
Unless
fine with it.
unless we find anything, I guess the trick would be finding everything we want to explore around this place, seeing what else we'd want to buy if you guys want anything, and then working out who gets what.
yeah.
I definitely want the fire resistant armor at a minimum. So
Right.
So
I think we
if
can stretch to that.
if we're not
that's
giving
one.
any loot to the NPCs, we get like approximately 1,263 each. I don't know if we do want to give anything to Zerek and Breezy.
Breezy,
Zero-
definitely not.
I mean, as a DM, I'll just say, like, don't bother buying anything for Zero because he's leading the party,
Yeah.
so he's got his own equipment. He'll be fine.
I know, we'd feel bad. But yes, okay.
We could
Well, leave
give
him like 5 gold pieces for the week or something.
Yeah.
we got some pretty loot. Some loot. Is there anything we could give him from that as like a
He's already taken his share. Don't worry.
Okay, cool. So I personally want enough gems to do 2 greater restorations and maybe like a little portable gem grinding machine, and then I will give the rest of my share to Lisma.
Yes, there is diamond dust available from the magic shop known as Ilalin's Endurance.
Okay. So can I'll spend 200 on that, and then could I get a little like portable gem grinding machine so that if I encounter any gems in the wild, I can grind them up?
I don't even know if such a thing exists, to be honest. I thought it was just a case of you just hit it really hard and you smash and pick up the dust.
I mean, I'm a gnome. My hitting very hard doesn't hit me.
Also, that means you need something stronger than a diamond.
Yeah.
But well, Ilalin's is actually run by 2 individuals: a female by the name of Ela, and an older Highland by the name of Lynn. And together, they run this little magic shop. It's quite a charming little place. Quite a few oddities in terms of like artistic design, shall we say? You can see a few items that are like you can see robes and hats and staffs and boots and things like they've basically created a wizard but without the wizard inside of all the wizard equipment, sort of thing. You clothes racks with the robes on them and stuff like that, components sort of scattered around, and they do request that everybody take their shoes off before they actually come into the store.
My big clawed feet start chewing up the carpet.
It's not carpet; it's a hardwood. There are rugs around, but it's mainly just hardwood. So
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from Lisma's time with the blacksmith. I just want to know how much money I can spare to give him.
They have. Oh, they have got about 500 gold pieces worth of diamond dust available at the moment.
Okay, so I'll take that, and that
Okay.
gives me 763 to give to Lisma for his armor.
Okay.
Does that cover it? It should do, right?
Yeah, because you said 1162, 63. So that
We
would
get
get him
to-
up to 1900.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No, like you said, it makes perfect sense. So
I have not got as far as working out fucking money.
So I think I've got an extra 500 gold pieces, so I might be able to get an upgrade on the sword as well. or another upgrade to the shield, because the shield seems to be more value for money.
So yeah, so for your 1650, you get +2 in your shield, +1 and fire resistance on your armor. So that gives you a +3 total for your AC and a +1 on your sword.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
That is
Yep.
a
Jack.
good trade-off.
Yep.
that's
Oh,
really good.
Apparently, I
You
wrote
guys haven't been able to
two.
spend money for a long time, so
And this isn't even
like
money we thought we'd
that's
spend.
the equivalent of 2 adventures loot's worth of stuff. You guys have had like 10 to 15 adventures worth of loot just backlog. That's why you've got so much money to spend.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing a year now, and
Yeah.
I've had the tentacle rod, and that's it. A
Um,
couple of levels, of course, but
I'll
yeah.
tell you, that's just the problem of going into a new world, because there's not really many places to spend money at.
No,
Yeah,
it makes
unfortunately.
complete sense. I think doing it this way was more exciting as well, because it's not just a shopping trip; it's a shopping trip in another civilization.
Yeah.
So how much would a +2 sword be?
A +2 sword.
Yeah.
Right, you're moving into
So it was 250, wasn't it? For +1.
+1. Yeah, I'm just doing my little calculations. Hold up. Is a rare weapon that comes equipped with the rare price, so that is they'll charge you 2,800 for that one.
Christ, that's quite a big jump.
Yeah, we might be stretching the limits a bit there, but
No,
the
no,
AC boost and the shield and the weapon definitely sounds useful.
No, yeah. So yeah, Jack, I'll go for the +1 shield. No, +2 shield, +1 and fire resistant armor, and
Okay.
+1 sword for 1,650 gold pieces. Please,
Alrighty then. No worries. Done deal.
thank you.
I also found the 252 ancient gold pieces that I found in the chest. If we want to divvy those up between everybody as well.
Just stick it in the party loot. We'll work it out. Like I can imagine, the plan will be we spend everything by the time we leave. So
Oh, I don't want to spend everything. I like having a little stash of gold, but I am also very excited to buy some herbs and incense so I can summon fucking McGonagall more than once more in my life.
well, I mean, we can keep a small retirement pot. That's it.
Very true.
Also, Focus, if you wanted to buy more herbs to summon McGonagall, you can get them in Elaylands.
Happy days. So I can buy 180 gold worth, no problem.
Yeah, they'll have that.
Sweet.
I think it's kind of like an antique store, really, because most of their Magi technology has moved on from components. So it's a bit. You basically just kind of gone into an antique store in this city.
Never been so insulted in my life. This is the pinnacle of technology. This is the forefront of magical excellence, and you're saying it's antique.
Well, there's no essence of Harlan in there, so.
But that's definitely helpful. But no, I mean, beyond that, I'm still a fairly new wizard myself. I don't really know exactly what I need. I haven't come across many spells I need components for yet. I happened to find a nice, lovely bunch of paper and shit recently. So if I had some more herbs to some Gonigas, I'd probably be quite happy. I might have a look round at various magic objects that they've got, but I wouldn't be looking for anything specific. I'd just be browsing, as it were.
Gonna maybe
Make
get
an investigation check.
Sorry.
$21.
21. Okay. Look for my notes here. Okay, so you find two items of interest and note to you. One of them is, by the looks of it, a horseshoe of some kind, or a set of horseshoes. They have a strange essence about them, and just going over them, you can identify them as as horseshoes of a zephyr. You're aware that if these horseshoes were to be affixed to a horse or a similar creature of some kind, they allow the creature to move normally while floating 4 inches above the ground, which means that they could cross stand on non-solid, unstable surfaces such as water or lava. They'll leave no tracks and ignore difficult terrain, and they can travel 4 times the amounts that they would travel before suffering exhaustion.
That sounds very useful if we were to harness some of those lovely bird things that Cora likes so much.
The other one is a small little stone that is red, and sort of as you pick it up in your hand, it seems to sort of like hover in your hand a little bit. With that investigation, there are many names for this stones that have existed before. You know them as an Ioun stone.
An Ioun stone of what?
This one appears to enhance somebody's strength.
I would ask the cost of both the items.
The horseshoes, the older gentleman. Well, that one has been here since my grandpappy was here, and his grandpappy before him, and his grandpappy before him, and his grandpappy before him. And
Oh, so the really old and probably don't work anymore then.
no, they work perfectly fine. Last time I polished them, they went whizzing all over the place. It took me at least 2 hours to catch them. Very interesting.
Well, that sounds really
thing.
Inconvenient. I'm sure there'll be some sort of discount for horseshoes that whiz all over the place when you're trying to use them.
Well, you certainly are a shrewd individual, sir. I would have thought that someone of the gods race would be a little bit more generous with their purse.
I am not part of the gods race. My companions have that honor, according to some of you. I am a mere dragonborn. I am here to serve.
Well then, these horseshoes. Let me just crunch some numbers, please.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
You'll find that they are the only items here in the entire city, and they are exceptionally rare, as in, I don't think you'll find anything else like it in the entirety of the mountain, so I won't be able to part with these for anything less than 50,000 gold pieces.
Well, then I hope you have a very happy life looking after these horseshoes and hugging them every single night, because I'm certainly not paying that, sir.
Oh. 40,000.
Yeah, it's the 1,000 that we're kind of getting away from here. I feel you have overestimated my wealth, sir, and I appreciate you want to make a good deal as every shop does, but 40,000 is well outside my price range.
I am sorry to hear that, sir. That item is very rare, and the price reflects its rarity.
How about this little red stone that doesn't seem to do much? It just seems to float in my hand. It looks like it could be a lucky stone.
Nice little oh, well, that one. Oh, we've had that go through this store before. It came back to us after the individual was caught doing some ne'er-do-well activities and returned to us to be sold again. We've not been able to
How
sell it.
rude.
It has something of a superstition amongst it, causing bad luck. Completely unnecessary, if you ask me.
Can I
But
incite
that...
superstition to mean curse?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Which is not to say I'm not going to buy them anyway, but 8.
Yeah, it's just superstition, mate.
Well, I mean,
This is also... It will make you stronger than you've ever been strong before. It wisps around your head like a little insectoid creature. Very, very rare. I could not possibly part from this for anything less than another 50,000 gold pieces.
it appears I've wandered into the wrong shop. I thought I'd come into the shop for magical items, but it appears I've come into the shop to be ripped off and fleeced for every penny I've ever earned. So I wish you a good day, sir. Thank you very much. And I turn to leave the shop.
Wait. Maybe these items are just a little bit out of your price range. I have got something else that might be of interest to you.
I glance over my shoulder.
I
Okay.
have this little old antique here. He pulls out what appears to be a scroll. He says, this is what we used to utilize back in the days before Magi technology. Engraved onto it is a symbol of symbols that will recreate the stored magic within. And this particular one can be utilized to dominate the mind of any beast.
Ooh.
He's offering you a spell scroll of Dominate Beast.
And what would the cost of such a scroll be?
Oh, hold on, let me crunch my numbers. Carry the 4. Take away the 5. This is a rare item. I would sell that one to you for 2,250 gold pieces.
Well, that does sound like a much fairer price, but it still feels like I have to go out and earn a lot more gold before I can improve my magical.
How much money
Alright.
do you have?
I mean, on me at this particular moment, I have just shy of 200 gold. I have access to more. We have a group fund, you see, but I would hate to clear out the group fund to merely fund my magical prowess.
The female will sort of push the old guy out of the way and says, "Hello, sorry, I overheard. I might have something for you for 200 gold pieces."
And what would you have for me?
I have this, and she reaches underneath the counter to pull out a pointy hat. It's grey with small bits of gems embedded into it.
Do I detect anything magical from this hat at all?
You cast detect magic.
No, I just want to use my innate magic knowledge.
Make an Arcana check.
I don't know why I'm trying to save a spell slot right now, but it just doesn't seem to fit. 19.
Yeah, there's something magical about it.
Well, I can sense some magic pouring from this item. Seems very powerful.
Oh yes, you'll find that when this is placed upon your head, everyone will be aware of your walking space.
Of my walking what, sorry?
Your walking space.
Do I need a specific space for walking? Am I quite clumsy?
No, it's just that sometimes people get a little bit too crowded, and this hat will just gently remind them where you are walking.
I mean, that does sound most useful. But again, I feel I cannot bear to part with all the gold I have earned over all my times to
What
gain
would you
this.
say is an appropriate price for this then?
Well, for an item that would only benefit the people around me and not me at all, and not really
No.
benefit them very much.
No, it keeps people out of your way.
Well, no, it tells them how far I can move. I then have to rely on their common sense and good decency to stay out of my way. And from the people that I've met, that's a big stretch.
Let me show you what I'm talking about. And she pops it on her head, and she pulls a little lever, and the brim around the hat expands by a 5-foot radius. It actually whacks both you and the old man in the head. As you can see, everyone is aware of my walking space.
I'm stood there, eyes wide open, mouth aghast, going, I apologise instantly. This is much more valuable than I originally believed. Could I offer you 150 gold for it?
Make a persuasion roll.
Because I really want this hat now. 17.
170.
Well, this is more than I hoped to spend, but deal. And I reach my hand out to do the little handshakey thing that they probably don't recognise.
They do not recognise that at all, but they do outstretch their hands to take the money, and they give you the hat. So this is the rim hat. As a bonus action, you can pull the lever and it expands in a 5-foot radius around you. Anybody within that radius that is not an ally must make a DC 10 strength saving throw or be pushed 5 feet away from you.
Oh, DC 10, that's high. I definitely haven't wasted 170 gold there.
It's a hat.
It was a solid hat. It's fine. It sounded really, really cool, and I was quite excited. So, yep, I can happily have that. Thank you very much.
Okay, well then. So, that's what you do. Various other bits. If I haven't gotten to anyone in your terms of what you wanted to get done during your downtime, then please message me over the until next session. But just to sort of characterize along. And at the end of the 7 days, you're all called to action. You all receive your messages from the council to state that the priests of Atta's temple have finally found the good portents to let you in. Escort will be given to you of 10 Hullans. They hope that they can all come back alive. If they do all come back alive, there will be a reward for you. However, one individual who you do recognise will be coming with you. The same Atita Fork, who had the meeting with you, will be escorting you inside to undo some of the natural traps within, as he had done so previously in the Nets.
It was Fork himself who's coming with us.
Yes.
Okay.
His survival is needed to sort of progress further into it. Basically, if at some point he does not make it past one of the traps, you don't really have any means to progress onwards, and it will be considered a failed mission. Unless you have the means to bring him back quickly. And escorts that you have can be utilized as you see fit. If they do all survive inside Arta's temple, then there will be a bonus reward for you. But we'll be dealing with effectively another dungeon crawl. Like a dungeon crawl within a dungeon crawl.
Roger, Roger.
Going on to the next session. So yeah, we'll call it an evening there, guys, because I'm getting quite tired.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, if I haven't been able to address anybody's wants or needs for for the downtime that you have, just let me know and we'll go over it, of course, between now and the next session.